In 1947, British India was on the brink of monumental change. The subcontinent, which had been under British colonial rule for nearly 2 centuries, was about to witness a seismic shift. The British Empire, weakened by the aftermath of World War II and facing mounting pressure from Indian independence movements, decided to relinquish control. This decision set the stage for one of the most significant and tumultuous events in modern history: the partition of India and the creation of Pakistan. Years of struggle for independence had led to a deep-seated divide. The Indian independence movement, characterized by mass protests, civil disobedience, and relentless advocacy for self-rule, had gained momentum. Leaders like Mahatma Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru, and Subhas Chandra Bose became symbols of resistance against colonial oppression. However, the movement was not monolithic. It was marked by internal divisions, particularly along religious lines, which would later prove to be a significant factor in the partition. The Indian National Congress and the Muslim League, led by figures like Mahatma Gandhi and Muhammad Ali Jinnah, grappled with the future of a diverse nation. The Congress, predominantly Hindu, envisioned a united India where all communities could coexist. In contrast, the Muslim League, representing the interests of the Muslim minority, feared marginalization in a Hindu-majority India. Jinnah, once a proponent of Hindu-Muslim unity, became a staunch advocate for a separate Muslim state, arguing that Muslims needed their own homeland to protect their rights and identity. Despite efforts at reconciliation, religious tensions escalated, leading to violence and mistrust. The years leading up to partition were marred by communal riots, with Hindus, Muslims, and Sikhs clashing violently. The British policy of divide and rule had exacerbated these tensions, creating an environment of suspicion and hostility. As the prospect of partition became more imminent, these tensions reached a boiling point, resulting in widespread bloodshed and chaos. On August 14th and 15th, 1947, India was partitioned into 2 nations, India and Pakistan. The joyous celebrations of independence were tempered by the grim reality of division. At the stroke of midnight, as India celebrated its newfound freedom, Pakistan was born. The partition was marked by ceremonies, speeches, and the lowering of the British flag, symbolizing the end of colonial rule. However, the euphoria of independence was overshadowed by the impending humanitarian crisis. The borders were drawn hastily, causing chaos. The Radcliffe Line, named after its architect Sir Cyril Radcliffe, was demarcated in just 5 weeks. Radcliffe, who had never visited India before, was tasked with dividing the subcontinent along religious lines. The result was a haphazard and arbitrary boundary that cut through villages, farmlands, and communities. The announcement of the borders led to confusion and panic, as millions of people found themselves on the wrong side of the line. Millions were uprooted, fleeing communal violence. The partition triggered one of the largest mass migrations in human history. Hindus and Sikhs in Pakistan fled to India, while Muslims in India moved to Pakistan. The journey was fraught with danger, as refugees faced attacks from rival communities, bandits, and the harsh realities of displacement. Trains carrying refugees were often targeted, resulting in horrific massacres. Families were torn apart, and countless lives were lost in the chaos. Estimates suggest over 1 million lives were lost in the chaos. The violence that accompanied the partition was unprecedented in its scale and brutality. Mass graves, burned villages, and stories of abduction and rape became grim reminders of the human cost of division. The trauma of partition left deep psychological scars on survivors, many of whom carried the memories of violence and loss for the rest of their lives. The legacy of partition is a testament to the devastating consequences of communal hatred and political expediency. The partition left deep scars, shaping the identities of both nations and sowing seeds of conflict that continue to this day. The newly formed nations of India and Pakistan embarked on divergent paths, each grappling with its own set of challenges. In India, the focus was on building a secular, democratic state that could accommodate its diverse population. Pakistan, on the other hand, was founded as a homeland for Muslims, with an emphasis on Islamic identity. The partition also laid the groundwork for future conflicts, including the wars over Kashmir, a region claimed by both countries. As 2 nations emerged, their paths diverged, forever intertwined by history, culture, and pain. Despite the animosity and rivalry, India and Pakistan share a common heritage that is reflected in their languages, cuisines, music, and traditions. Over the decades, there have been moments of cooperation and dialogue, as well as periods of tension and hostility. The relationship between the two countries remains complex, shaped by historical grievances, geopolitical interests, and the aspirations of their people. The legacy of partition is a reminder of the complexities of identity and the consequences of division. It serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of communalism and the importance of fostering unity and understanding. As India and Pakistan continue to navigate their relationship, the memory of partition remains a powerful force, influencing their politics, society, and collective consciousness. The story of partition is not just a historical event, it is a living legacy that continues to shape the destinies of both nations.